Hey guys, my name is Chris from First to Deploy. I'm here with Andy Harless from Smokey Drones, Chris Lowe from Smokey Drones, and Gene Robinson from RP Search Service. And we are here to talk about the new M30 series that was just introduced by DJI today. I know, we've a lot of us we've talked about it previously about what we'd like to see in a new enterprise drone. And I think a lot of the things that we wanted to see may have not been there, but a lot of the things that they introduced kind of surprised some of us. Chris, how are you today?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic, man. I'll go ahead and just kind of start with you and see. You work for a fire department. You've been in the search and rescue business. You know what you would like to see in a drone. So what was it you was kind of looking for in an enterprise drone?
Well, so one thing about the enterprise drone that we've had before was it could handle a little light rain. One thing I was wanting to see was something that was weatherproof, that you could fly in a rain, or if you get caught out in a heavy rain, you wouldn't have to worry about anything. I liked, I wanted a good thermal, which the Advanced actually has a good thermal. They did a really good job between the Enterprise and the Advanced. But I still would like to have seen a thermal that you could actually zoom in on, and do a little better. And I wanted to see something that could sustain, kind of back to the weather, a pretty decent wind, because even you may have a really clear day and you're trying to do a search, but the wind is just gusting, and the smaller drones, sometimes they struggle. They do pretty good, but they struggle. So just something that would give us more opportunity to launch and actually be able to use the drones. What I was looking for.
Yeah, I agree. And you mentioned the Enterprise Advanced. We actually have an Enterprise Advanced that we use a lot. It's a fantastic drone. But one thing I've always thought was, man, if this thing could fly in the rain, like there's been times where I would have loved to got it in the air, but hey, if you got some rain, you can't put the drone up. You don't want to lose a drone that costs that much. So that was definitely something that I would have loved to seen come with the new enterprise drone. Um, when I've always thought of compact drones, I've wanted to see a interchangeable payload. I think that's something that eventually has to happen. It's very important. But I guess coming with a compact, I guess, quality and low price drone, that's going to be hard to do. Andy, how are you today, sir?
I'm doing very good, thank you.
Wonderful. I'll go ahead and let you take the stage, man. What do you think? What would you like to see in a just a compact enterprise drone?
Well, I want to say first that I was kind of surprised by this a little bit. I know you talked about the payload; it was kind of locked into it, and I think that was very unique. I know that maybe people want to upgrade in the future, and maybe they'll be able to change that. I like the size of it. It's bigger. It's got longer battery life. It's got more fly time, but it's not so big that you're going to have a suitcase. This I feel like could fit either in a backpack or easily carried into the field. That's something I did like about it also.
Okay. Gene, also known as the grandfather of search and rescue. If anyone's going to know about drone search and rescue, if anyone's going to know about what would be great in an enterprise search and rescue or just a public safety drone, it's going to be this man right here. What is it that you would like to see brought to the table, Gene?
Well, all your comments are valid. The only thing that I got to see on the launch today was the introduction to the video that's really all I got to see. I didn't get to see much of the specs on the
Right.
aircraft, but I think it's important to note there's a paradigm shift going on right now within DJI.
Mm-hmm.
They have never given, and this is a history from a long time ago, they have never given one hoot about public safety and what we had to do out there. That was not what they were aiming for. They were looking to do the selfie drone and do the pretty pictures and do that sort of thing. The opening on that launch today, that video launching, had what? Nothing but public safety figures.
Yeah.
That is a paradigm shift. They have opened their eyes. They are now targeting specifically public safety with the release of this new enterprise drone. And I believe that you're going to see a lot more responses to public safety and what we're wanting out there. Now, granted, the H20T, good camera, the sensor is still small. I'm sorry, it's still a small sensor. You know, you can only pack so many megapixels into that thing.
Yeah.
To get what we need out of the thing, either in RGB, well, mostly RGB, because FLIR, no matter what, is going to be 640 by 512, forever and ever, amen. That's all we're going to get. So for search and rescue on that side, we need megapixels.
Yeah, I agree, Gene. And you know, you referenced the video introducing the M30. Let's go ahead and just take a look at that and see kind of, you know, what they introduced today.
I mean, granted, they're Chinese public safety, but nonetheless, it is
Yeah.
parallel to what we are trying to do over here right now. That is not a 48 megapixel camera. I'm sorry. that sensor is not big enough.
That's what I wonder if they blend it like they used to do with the
it's bloated. It's a bunch of software, supposedly software enhancement, and it doesn't do anything for image quality. It just makes the file size so much bigger and so much more difficult to transmit.
Okay.
So that's actually what I was going to talk about, Gene. That's why I stopped the video. I heard you had talked about the 48 megapixel imager. When I first met Gene, one of the big things that I mentioned to him was I was so proud of the Enterprise Advanced that I had just spent all this money on. And Gene's telling me, he's like, I need you to go out and I need you to map this area. And I'm like, okay, I got you. So I'm going to take my Enterprise Advanced. And he's like, no, you're going to take your Mavic 2 Pro. And I'm like, but my Enterprise Advanced, it's $6,000 drone. Why am I not using the $6,000 drone? And so we got into that. And Gene, go ahead. I'll let you explain a little bit more about why you told me to use the Mavic 2 Pro over an Enterprise Advanced.
Because you have 20 megapixels on the Enterprise Advanced, which is significantly clearer and sharper than the software enhanced 48 megapixel camera that is in the Enterprise Advanced. And it is so apparent when you drill down into it and you're looking for detail and you're wanting to see what's in that cloud, that forest cover, and you're trying to see through the leaves, it really gets lost quick when you go to the 48 megapixel or the pseudo 48 megapixel.
Yeah.
So much clearer on the 20 megapixel fixed lens camera that's on the Mavic Pro 2.
Yeah. So I agree. And that's one other thing that I wanted to talk about. To be clear here, I don't think that we have a mapping drone on our hands here. I think this is a public safety drone. And I think the mapping portion of it is more as a reference point because of what Gene just talked about. Would you agree with that, Gene?
Yeah, and I think the important thing is you look at that 41-minute flight time. It gives us a much longer sit and stare situation. And I don't know, as you scroll by, it also shows that it has an ADS-B component in it as well. Yeah, there's the IP55 protection, which, it can handle certain amounts of moisture. But if you look at the IP55 standard, it still has got some holes in it.
Yeah.
And but continue to scroll down there, Chris, and let's look at that. There you go. It's got a built-in ADS-B receiver. Okay, and that's going to help you see any aircraft that has an ADS-B out. I'm a pilot. That's my cockpit in the background there. With the ADS-B, it will allow you to see incoming, but it does not help you with uncooperative aircraft. If the aircraft does not have an ADS-B, you won't see it coming. You'll hear it, but you won't see it coming. So it doesn't really help you. Now, that being said, there's a lot of aircraft out there now. I don't know what the number is. We'll have to check with the FAA to see what the number is that do have ADS-B. But there's still a significant number that do not. Okay. Many home built helicopters don't have ADS-B out.
Okay. Which I did notice. I noticed on the video they said that that's included in all their enterprise drones, if I heard it correctly, earlier today. So it should. I guess it's something they've had before.
Yes, yeah, they have been putting the ADS-B in there, and the enterprise drones definitely have it. There you go. There's a FLIR 640 by 512. Yep. The laser rangefinder. Yeah, look at there you go. 12 megapixel. Half-inch CMOS sensor.
Yep.
Yeah.
So when you start looking at this, I mean, it kind of reminds you of a popular camera that we already have out there on a much more expensive drone, the M300. And this, when you start looking at this, we've worked with an H20T before, and this, kind of is identical to your H20T. You've got your 12 megapixel, like Gene said, half-inch sensor, but then you got your zoom camera. Gene, so this says 48 megapixels, half-inch zoom or half-inch sensor, 5:16 optical zoom, 200x max hybrid zoom.
Yeah, the hybrid zoom.
So can you talk a little bit about, I know we mentioned a little bit earlier, we've got 48 megapixels here, but it's not an actual 48 megapixel camera.
No, there are not two sensors in that camera. It's smoke and mirrors. Unfortunately, you just got to look at it that way, smoke and mirrors.
Yeah.
With the software enhancement and the capability of being able to zoom down into a portion of that is what they kind of equivalent 48 megapixels. So, gosh, I'm not the expert on, how all this works with the optical zoom and the software enhancement, but I do know it's not a true 48 megapixel.
Right.
But some things I did like in that camera, though, that laser rangefinder, that's something that, and Andy and I have actually have had this issue before where we've located somebody, and I know we've had this conversation, Andy. It's like if we could drop a pin on that image right where they are, but you have to fly over it straight down and then drop and then mark your location that way. Now you can actually drop a pin on it with that laser rangefinder. And I really thought that was something. It's something I wanted, but really didn't even expect for them to have thought about.
It does seem like they have listened to what first responders have asked for and tried to give it to them. Waterproof, the laser, spots. It seems like they've had a lot of influence in wildland fire where they have the mapping and everyone can bring it up and kind of see where the fires are in the maps.
And yeah, and I don't know if you noticed it, but you can actually, they have that to where you can do the real-time mapping, basically, and also thermal mapping. So,
Yes.
which would be great for the wildland firefighter, because you can in pretty much real time. I mean, it may be 30 minutes or whatever, or however often you get to doing the flight, but you're going to be able to see your path, your your flanks and your head fires and all that stuff. So
Right.
that
And
that
yeah,
is pretty impressive.
yeah. And so I don't know a lot about the wildland firefighting, but I can tell you, DJI, they definitely try to put all this stuff into their own programs. They've done it before, especially with their thermal analysis program that they have. And I can tell you, it's not worth anything. I've used it before.
Yeah, and that's the thing. We have to see see if it's worth. I know there's a 2.0, I think, and part of that what is it? I had it on here, but part of that program, I was wondering the same thing. Have they really improved? Is it a completely new program? Have they really improved it? Because yeah, they can say they do all this stuff, but at the end of the day, if they can't, I mean, it's useless. So
yeah, and that's really the ultimate question, because this whole program that they got that's coming out with, that's going to be able to be used with this drone, it really could be a game changer if it's done the right way. But is it going to pull us away from programs like Pix40 React or Pix40 Capture, or are we just going to want to use the same thing because this program doesn't work as good? That's the thing, is DJI has to really step up and make sure that they've got their stuff together here, and they know what they're doing.
And one of the questions that I would have in this particular instance, that DJI is going away from supporting the iOS software developers kit. And they're moving toward their smart controllers, which is Android based.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Now, all of us, have used a Pix4D Capture or a Litchi or UCGS or something like that to fly our DJI drones with. And it's because they have made that software developers kit available to those producers of that software. Okay, which has been important. Now, are they going to allow the developers?
They actually are. They announced it today. Did
they say that? Okay, that's
they said that they're. I wish I could find it here. I've only seen the video once, and I saw it this morning, and I was at work, and we continued on. Yeah, they actually said that they were going to open it up.
That's good.
To different platforms, because that was one thing I noticed too. So, one thing, since you kind of, and you don't have to go back, but the controller. Well, yeah, go back to the controller there. I was impressed with the controller. It's a waterproof controller, which again, it's like Andy said. I think they've listened, because not only does the drone need to be waterproof and be able to withstand the weather, the controller does. It has a built-in battery on the back, or it built into the controller, and on the back it has an external battery. Did you see that? It has an external battery, so you can swap that battery out. You can keep that controller going.
Yep.
All the time. And then you also have the programmable keys, and quite a few of them, to where you can drop. They were saying where you can drop pins, switch to thermal, do different things like that. So I like that part of it too. I thought they did pretty good with it looks like, I mean, we don't know how it actually acts in
reality. Sure.
Yeah, but it looks like they. I was pretty impressed with the controller too. So,
well, with the Matrice 300 series and the 210, I do believe they claim that the drone was IP55 rated, and the drone itself, yes, was rated that. However, none of the payloads were.
That's the thing. The cameras weren't. Yeah. And when you would get it, we actually, our police department has one, and we would have to rely on them to for that in bad weather, because that was their main drone. But they wouldn't fly it. I thought, well, it doesn't matter if it's waterproof or not. They won't fly it. I understand it. I mean, the cameras,
You don't want
very
to ruin your
expensive.
camera.
I know. So yeah, I always thought, well, that's crazy. Why would you make something like that? So so that's good now that we have a camera that
Is it truly? Well, it has to be, because the camera is integrated into this aircraft.
yeah, because it's all
Yeah.
integrated.
Yeah.
And yeah.
That's what they're saying. That was what they, one of the things that they introduced in their video was, this is waterproof. It's going to be able to, let's continue watching here. Let's see what we've got.
There's no audio coming through, if that's what you're.
No audio coming through on your end?
Not
No.
on our end, no. Hopefully it is on the recording, but
Yeah, it should be.
okay.
Let's see.
Okay, the zoom camera, I don't know if you've seen the D30 or the high zoom camera that they have out now. You remember they dropped the price on them. The sensor size in it was 3 megapixels. And it
Yeah,
was
I
still
remember that.
zoomed way out.
Yeah.
So this is the same principle with this 200X guy. If you have a 12 megapixel camera in there, you can say that, yeah, you can zoom in 200 times. So
Yeah.
stabilization is going to be really important at 200X zoom.
Yeah.
Are they using TB55 batteries on that? Is that what I saw?
I don't think
I
it
don't
was the
know.
TB55 batteries. It's looking like it may be a newer, just a
Believe it's-
newer battery in general, but I don't think it was a TB55.
Of course, there would be nothing that would be downward compatible.
No, that's true.
Yeah,
Fire
so
all that
that's, of course, and that's going to be another question to ask is, okay, if we spend $13,000 on this drone, how much more are we going to have to spend on our batteries? That is a valid question.
So you got to
And-
replace your charger, you got to replace
Yep.
your batteries, all that equipment, ancillary equipment's got to be replaced.
And if I had to put a price point on it, I say these batteries have to be under, I'd say under 300, 250, at best. I don't think you're going to get that. I think they're probably going to see more. But I think
For a 41-minute flight time, it's going to have to be a pretty beefy battery.
yeah. And you've got 2 of them. Remember, we saw 2 batteries on that drone.
That's right.
So
I'm not
So
mistaken.
the hot swap was a neat feature. Did you see that? You don't power down the drone. You
You
just
can leave one in.
you leave one in and you can swap them out that way and do a hot swap. I thought that's pretty interesting. We'll see how it works, but
And that brings another thing. When you're with the 200 and 300 series, they wanted you to try to keep those batteries matched as closely
matched
as
up,
possible.
yeah. Your A and B, and yeah.
Right? So now it looks like they may have solved that little issue, where you can keep one hot and rotate them out,
Yeah.
and it doesn't hurt the battery, doesn't hurt it shouldn't hurt the drone,
Yeah.
but we
To be
went through
seen.
that period when they hit 50%, and they went in,
Yeah.
Yep. The next thing I was wanting to talk about, guys, before we finish this up, is the DJI dock. I know we haven't really talked about it a lot, and I'm not really sure. I know this is probably geared more towards beyond visual line of sight, which we're not quite at yet here in the United States. But let's take a look at this video for the DJI dock that was announced.
Oh yeah, that looks cold. I really don't want to go there.
Yeah, I know. So let's put a box out there and let it take care of itself.
Yeah, that's, that's from the old drone in a box concept.
Yeah. I really, there may be some industrial applications that that I'm just not familiar with. But the one listening to them, I mean, you have to have a power supply. You have to have quite a bit of stuff. They make it remote out there, like you just set it out in the field and take off with it. But really, when you listen to it, listen to them talking later on in the video, I thought, yeah, that would be something. It's neat to do, but until we have until we have autonomous flights that are allowed.
You don't visualize
Not
sight.
even just BVLOS, and I mean you have to have a remote pilot in charge right now. I don't see how that would really be useful in the U.S.
Well, now
maybe
Chula
somewhere else.
Vista in California has been running the IPP model, and they have been flying from the roof of their PD. Now they've been attended on the launch and the landings.
Yeah,
The control was still downstairs and the pilot was downstairs.
huh.
So, I mean, this could drop into a PD or an FD or, right on the roof there, and you leave it and it takes care of itself. I mean, I'm from Missouri. I'm going to have to see that.
Yeah,
But I mean, that could be the intent. And, if it works, that could be a game changer.
yeah.
And it said, I don't know if you all could hear the sound on that one, but it said 25 minutes from the time it lands for a full charge to go back up. That's pretty nice.
Yeah, and what it does is it does a rapid charge, I think in 25 minutes up to 90% on your battery is what they were saying. So, which, is good for the battery, I guess. As far as they have some battery features on there where you can switch it to, and actually I may be talking about the case that comes with the drone, but they have a standard mode, which I guess it charges it all the way to 100%. Then they have a fast charge mode, which charges it in it was around 30 minutes. You got 90% of your charge, which is really good for the field. And then they have a battery saver mode, which charges your batteries only to 50%. And I thought that was good that they actually have a little better controls on charging their batteries, because you know how it goes. If you charge a battery and keep it 100%, it's going to kill it. And that's obviously something that they've been having to deal with.
TB30. There's a TB30 5880 milliamp hours.
So
Okay.
let's see.
So 6S.
Yep. So let's see. So there you go, your external battery, W37s for your remote controller. That's actually a pretty nice feature.
Mhm.
So overall, we all got to see this drone drop today. There's going to be a lot more stuff, a lot more coming out about it, a lot more information, I'm sure. I've already seen videos out there, people saying, hey, I got to demo this drone, here, take a look. So, we'll have a lot more information and a lot more reviews out there soon to go off of.
Yeah.
But overall, Gene, do you think this is helpful for for public safety? Do you think it's a game changer? Do you think it's something that's just a step towards where we need to be? Or what do you think?
Anytime we can get to the point where the reliability of the systems goes up, it is absolutely essential for public safety to have that level of reliability. With that being said, I'm a little concerned with the blue drones and the push toward, blue drones in state and government use.
Yeah.
Florida has already passed their law that, after a certain date, there's not going to be any more DJI drones being used. I think DJI hopes that, there will be so deeply entrenched, they'll be, dug in like a tick and we can't get them out. But there could be quite the groundswell movement to the blue drones. And gosh, I'm just really concerned for public safety and government entities that end up adopting this whole thing of using blue drones.
Yeah,
Right.
I agree.
Chris, what's your take on it? Do you think that this is something that's going to change the way public safety uses drones?
Yeah, and I'll tell you why. Gene actually hit on it earlier. Public safety has always been an afterthought, and I think they've listened. Part of it is, I feel like you said it, Gene. They're trying to get embedded and basically make the states that have gone to blue drone stuff say, because we're already there, we don't have anything that can work and is reliable and pretty much standard across the board, easy to fly, like DJI. I mean, you've got some Altel, but it just seems like Altel they struggle to take off. And I don't know the reason for that, but and you have some other drones that try to come out and make public safety drones or any kind of drone that's pretty reliable. But I don't know what the market hold is for DJI now, but at one time, gosh, she was like 80%, I think, wasn't it? It was way up there to where DJI had the market. So with that, I'm excited that they listened, and it's to be seen. This hopefully not. This thing could, if it doesn't live up to what they say, it'll be disappointing. So
yeah, I agree. I think 100%. When they came out with the Enterprise Advanced, I think it kind of it lived up to its expectations. I think it's a great drone, but I think you're right about this one, especially at the price point. If you purchase this for your organization or your department, then it has to be spot on.
Yeah.
Andy, is there anything you'd like to add before we end this?
Just kind of agreeing. I think they really have listened, and I think they have made some really good improvements. I kept watching the video and was like, wow, that's a good idea. Well, that's a good idea. Well, that's a good idea. So hopefully it works well. The batteries, the remote, and the little program that they're going to kind of give you to use in the public to show other people what you're gathering. I think that'll be very useful, hopefully, if it works right. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see it.
Yeah, and I'll add one more thing. I think the one thing that I'm most excited about is what you mentioned earlier, Chris, about the DJI finally opening up to outside developers. This has been an issue for so long. I fly on an iPad specifically because of this issue. So if they're willing to finally open up and allow outside developers, I think they had no choice.
Yeah,
I think that's the thing, is they had no choice but to allow this to happen. And I think it's going to benefit them, and they'll see their sales increase on some of their smart controllers, because they do really well with making some great controllers. I love my smart controller, and I would love it even more and use it a ton more if I could have some of those outside programs and be able to use them. Gene, what do you think, man? Would you ever imagine that this is where we would be in the drone market now, back from the days where, you know, you were flying that spinning thing around your head that you talked about?
You know, I've been in this game 15 years, and that's a long time in drone years. And
Yeah.
I've seen it come an extremely long way. I'm encouraged. DJI did it right. They listened to their user base, and they put the features in there that everybody wanted. And that's why they got the 80–85% share.
Yeah.
You know, the fact that we've been able to take a standard item like this and adapt it to public safety and really do good with it. I mean, when you consider these little guys and the Mavics and stuff like that have saved lives and, you know, saved firefighters' lives and just, you know, if nothing else, provided situational awareness. It's just phenomenal. Love it. You know, but again, you know, the geopolitical thing that's going on, I just hope it doesn't bring it all down crashing around our ears, because, you know, we're finally making some headway.
Yeah.
I agree. I can tell you that first to deploy plans on trying to add one of these drones to our arsenals. I know I spoke to Chris of Smokey Drones. He agrees that they're going to try to add one to their organization as well.
Yeah.
So guys, I'm sure you'll hear from us more as this drone, you know, makes its way to the public and we see it being used in public safety. And thanks to all of you all for joining us tonight and just giving your input. And I hope y'all have a fantastic night.
You too.
Good stick
Thanks.
back.
Hey, it's good.